Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Posting for Advice. Am I the a-hole if I went to a hotel with my kids because of my mother-in-law's behavior with my daughter? My husband and I are currently at my in-laws in Houston for the holidays. We live in Atlanta but are here for the holidays to see them. Just a bit of context so my reaction doesn't seem over the top. My mother-in-law always wanted a grandson. She's used to say she was praying for one early in my pregnancy with my daughter. My husband and I didn't care. We just wanted our baby to be happy and healthy. After we had her, she kept pushing for us to have another. My son is 4 months old and my 2-year-old daughter is such a loving big sister to him. My mother-in-law's behavior to them is definitely partial. From the amount of Christmas presents she gave to the amount of time and love she gives. Now, all these things are things that are her effort to distribute as she wishes, so I didn't say anything. But today, me and her were with my son, while my husband was cuddling with my daughter. They have a really close bond and she's a real daddy's girl. My mother-in-law snapped at him and said to forget her for a bit and give his attention to my son who needs it. She said it in front of my daughter who suddenly went quiet and looked confused and hurt. My son had 2 adults with him. He didn't need my husband to turn his attention from my daughter at the time. I said as much and she said we're spoiling her to the detriment of our son and that he needs it more and we need to impress on my daughter boundaries. Again, all in front of her. I lost it, took my son and my daughter and went to my husband's room, where we're staying. A few minutes later, my husband came up, apologized for his mom, hugged our daughter and said Granny was having a bad day, but she loves you so much and don't take it to heart, blah blah blah. I told him I'm seriously considering just booking a hotel for the rest of the time we're here, till Saturday. He told me that would make things worse, that he'll talk to her and fix this. So he went downstairs again. But I'm still considering just going. Would that be an impulsive thing and a holish thing to do? Thanks. Well, in my opinion, no. You should take your daughter, your son, and your husband and leave. Some people might see this as, well, just grandma's playing favorites. But that kind of behavior is toxic to the relationship that little girl can have with her brother. Yes, right now she is very loving because it is her baby brother and of course she's gonna love him. But the more she continues to see this type of behavior from grown-ups around her, particularly her grandma, she may start resenting her little brother and start not liking him anymore because, well, he's the reason why her grandma doesn't love her, or in some other cases, other adults in her life. And I also think you need to have a serious conversation with your husband. Him trying to excuse the way his mother acted to his daughter, oh, she loves you so much, she's having a bad day. No, you don't do that. Some adults have a big problem. They confuse small with stupid. But children can pick up on those things. And sure, they might not understand all the context, but the feelings still remain. So no OP, not the a-hole. Grandma needs to learn a lesson, and your husband needs to back you up. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Mammoth Suit 9357 says, please keep your babies away from this woman. It would only get worse and it could affect the relationship between the siblings. The sibling relationship is the more important one. It will last long after the grand and parents are gone. Your mother-in-law will destroy their relationship by favoring one and teaching your son he is somehow more important than your daughter. Snoo18951 says, not the a-hole. Your husband's "Granny is just having a bad day" comment is a bit of a red flag. It's a peacekeeping move that minimizes your daughter's feelings to avoid a fight with his mother. He needs to realize that by not making things worse with his mom, he is making things worse for his daughter. Spill That Tea to Me says, absolutely not. He has already started sweeping it under the rug. He told your daughter that his mother didn't mean it. She absolutely meant it. She has no shame about what she did. The only way she might stop is if there are consequences right now. Go get that hotel and maybe you can salvage a relationship with her. Maybe. And Opie responds, this is going to sound like weaponized incompetence because I'm a grown woman with kids, but I don't want to have to stay in a hotel in Houston for days without him. If I go, I'm going to need him to come with us. As he should. His place is with you and his kids. Alarming Paper 8357 says, your mother-in-law is a piece of work. Sometimes a direct, what a crazy thing to say. They both need love and attention, and that's exactly what they are getting. The spoiled bit, imagine how frustrated she would have been if you had turned to your daughter and said laughing, I don't think you're spoiled. Do you think you're spoiled, sweetie? No, I think grandma's being silly, don't you? What your husband said to your daughter was age appropriate, and I'd give him a chance to fix it with your mom and hopefully drive the point home that he will not tolerate favoritism between the children. Her actions are unacceptable, and one more comment along those lines means you start packing for the hotel. I don't see how removing yourself and the kids from the situation would make it worse. Sounds pretty stressful already. Mr. QWRB says, if you and your husband are usually a strong team and on the same page, I'd find some time for a private conversation between the two of you once the kids are asleep. Calmly discuss the situation, see if you are on the same page and identify boundaries together. If mother-in-law does X, we, all four of us, will immediately do Y. Then you know you still have each other's back and won't be facing this situation on your own. If you can't come to consensus on boundaries, then it's a tougher discussion. As a parent, a mom, I am not willing to risk my daughter's sense of self or jeopardize her nascent relationship with her brother for any reason. If mother-in-law does X, I and the children will immediately do Y. I hope you, husband, will choose to support us, your family, and cherish the bond you have with your daughter. Efficient Society 73 says, Granny wasn't having a bad day. Granny's a bitch. Let's call a spade here. She doesn't care about your daughter. She wanted a grandson, and now she has one. So in her mind, the rest of you are useless extra weight. Do not take those children to see her again, and tell your husband he can either set her straight or she can be cut off. Period. She was unnecessarily cruel to your daughter because she's a boy mom of the worst kind. Granny sucks. She's a miserable, unhappy woman who doesn't have her baby boy anymore, so she's determined to take over raising yours. This needs to stop now. Get those kids out of there as soon as possible, and again, do not go back ever. And Mrs. Flying Panda says, not the a-hole. What if you were not there to witness? What will your husband do? Also, I feel like this kind of treatment will just get worse as your kids get older, unless mother-in-law will change. Your son will end up getting treated like a golden child by your mother-in-law. And Opie responds, I hadn't thought of what my daughter might have heard from her in my absence. It makes me feel sick to my stomach. We live far away, that there's not that much interaction, but there definitely have been times when I'm not there and it's just the two of them. It made me think of. Opie's edit. My husband told me he impressed upon her that what she said and did would distance us from her and that things will go smoother. He said that me leaving with the kids would make our daughter feel like she caused it, which wouldn't be right. I asked him what exactly she said. He said she understood what he was saying, but I asked him exactly what she said, and he just seemed evasive. And I've read some comments. Honestly, I'd much rather go back to Atlanta than to stay in Houston at a hotel. I'll have to check how that could be done. He was asking me to bring us all back down. I said I wasn't ready, but he has taken our daughter out with him to make her feel better. Well, the community is raising all the red flags in this situation, and apparently OP is trying to do something about it. So now let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. Hi, I wanted to provide an update since some of you had asked. Honestly, I was avoiding it initially because I had gone against the advice given. My daughter and husband had come back last night with him showing her around the area. My daughter was happy, and my husband said he had made it clear to his mom that the favoritism wouldn't stand, so I chose to stay. This morning, my mother-in-law was extra sweet to my daughter, showing her stuff around the house and kitchen. It seemed a bit fake syrupy sweetness to me, but I thought, okay, maybe I'm cynical, she's trying and my daughter can't tell, so it's all good. And the morning went fine. But after lunch, when we were in the living room, she was telling my daughter her responsibilities as an older sister, that her brother is a baby and younger than her, and she needs to now be a big girl and make sure he's happy. It maybe doesn't sound bad in words, but the tone was one of a lecture. Oh, it does sound bad as words too. So I just said Jazzy is a baby too, and tickled her to make her laugh and to just kind of put her at ease and diffuse the tension of the lecture. At this, my mother-in-law said she's just fulfilling her right and responsibility by educating my daughter, that she's her dad's mom. She's earned the right to educate her grandkids. Again, in front of her. That was it for me. Maybe in isolation it wouldn't have, but considering yesterday, I told my daughter we'll play with her toys in the room and took her and my son up. I called my husband and told him what had happened. He kept asking how she said it and the setting, and I was just like, you know I planned to give her an honest chance this morning. Otherwise, I would have done all this yesterday, and to trust me when I'm saying she crossed the line. I told him I'm changing our flights to catch the earliest one out. I need him to come with us, or he has to tell her daughter why daddy isn't coming back home with us. He said he'll come too and sort out the flight. I told him I just want the earliest one whenever it is and told him to come back. He's out with his friends today. He told me later we fly out early tomorrow morning now. The last flight today was like 2 hours from our call, so it wouldn't be enough time, and he'll be here soon. I'm just packing our stuff up now. I went downstairs a few times to grab some of our stuff. She tried talking to me, telling me to calm down. I just told her he'll talk to her when he comes. I should have listened and just done this yesterday. We're going to be leaving before dawn, basically. I don't know if she'll be up for it then or not. But if she is, it's fine. We'll say goodbye. When we get home, I'll talk to him about how we proceed with her relationship with our kids. I definitely don't think there's a point to having dinner at the table together. I'll either order out or have him take the 4 of us out. Probably the former, because otherwise she'll ask to come along too. I deserve any incoming criticism. I'm so angry with myself too. My daughter has had to be in an uncomfortable position twice rather than once because of that, and we could have celebrated New Year's Eve in Atlanta instead of here. Thank you all for the advice. I appreciate it so much. Well, OP, don't beat yourself up too much. You're doing the right thing. You're protecting your kids like a parent should. And your husband apparently is starting to step up. Hopefully he'll put his mom in his place. But if I were in your shoes, any communication with her would go to the husband. I wouldn't be talking to her until she apologizes and acknowledges what she did was wrong. But in the meantime, OP, here's wishing you the best. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Work, and it's by user CautiousSoil5557. My boss just asked me to host his entire family for a week. I have changed a couple of details and left certain things vague for privacy reasons, but the gist of it is he is considered the CEO's golden boy, and I'm considered the CEO's mother. When Bobs and his wife had a child, she became a stay-at-home mom, which the CEO, Dick, because he is one, found very admirable and promoted him. You know, the whole song and dance of Bob becoming a family man. Didn't seem to matter that he was showing up later and later to the office and missing more and more work, and when he was in the office, he was often sleeping. He wasn't my charge, so I let it go and focused on those who were under me. About a year ago, Bob and company had to leave due to a family emergency which required them to move across the country. Another promotion happened as soon as they settled. At this point, he went from being under me in the hierarchy to being at my level and became even more unreachable. Well, Bob got promoted again a couple of months ago to the highest level he can be, and now outranks me. So imagine my surprise when he texts me asking me to house his wife, toddler, and dog for the week in January and mentions asking the company to pay for his accommodations as an afterthought if that didn't work. Gobsmacked, I tell you. Utter gobsmacked I was. My dude, I haven't gotten a raise in 4 years and just got silently demoted for having the audacity of, checks notes, having a baby. That is another fun tale of Dick acting like a spoiled older child with a new baby sibling for another day. Despite nothing with my work changing while you are praised for being such a good dad. Get the absolute F out of here. Thanks for listening to my rant. I'm going to take an aspirin before my meeting with Dick, where he will, without a doubt, mention it. Wow, OP, you used the right words. The audacity of this man. What the hell is wrong with him? Asking somebody he works with, not even a friend, but now somebody he outranks, to host his family for a week? The hell is wrong with him? No. I do hope, OP, that you've said no, and also that you're saving whatever it was that he sent you in order to ask of this, because it is highly inappropriate, and maybe you'd want to start gathering evidence in case you need to go to HR to expose this. That is so absolutely inappropriate. Maybe I could see it working out if you guys were like amazing friends, but he's asking you to host his family while he gets a hotel. I mean, he's not even a crappy boss, he's a crappy husband. Damn. What do you guys think? What would you do if your boss asked you to host his family like this? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Banside13 says, no is a complete sentence. Go to HR, start sending out resumes. And OP responds, don't worry, I already said no, and I'm already looking for an incident with Dick 3 weeks ago. Thumbs up. My flab is just gasted they thought to ask. Maleficently 4314 says, why do they even need to stay with you? If he's going somewhere for something, can't they just stay home by themselves like every other adult with a child does? And Dopey responds, I think the company is and was trying to eat some of the costs of having him and his entire entourage fly out by having them stay with me. Admittedly, my house is pretty large and it hasn't been a good year financially due to a myriad of stupid stunts by Dick. Why his entire family down to the family heirlooms need to come on each work trip? Couldn't tell you. I don't even know why they keep flying him out if he's going to do less than 3 hours of work a day. And Alarming Thai 9873 says, when you contact HR, ask if there is a policy regarding personal servitude. If you get too much blowback, contact an attorney. While you're at it, brush up your resume. Well, the community absolutely agrees this is totally out of bounds and are giving OP some pretty good things to think about. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. And we are in the final countdown with some very interesting developments. A quick recap. Bob, CTO, is the family man who is bringing his entire family, including the dog, to stay in my home for a week to avoid paying hotel fees. Dick is the CEO, and well, a dick who keeps rewarding Bob for being a hard-working family man at detriment to his job. So let's start with the minor drama. Bob is on vacation all this week, which good for him. Much earned, I'm sure. Just one small teeny tiny hiccup. He hasn't told us some very minor details like meeting place or meeting time. This is all going too well, I am sure. Now, for the intrigue involving Dick. Dick just kind of poofed, vanished off the face of the planet. We don't talk about Bruno style. I brought up his name a few times in meetings over the past month on things we need him for, and no one, and I mean no one else in the C-suite will say his name. He is off the payroll, which in some weird oversight I still have access to. Oops. There has been a lot of hush-hush transition meetings with the owner and founder and Bob, so I think he is going to announce his resignation next Monday, which is a mixed bag since it looks like Bob cannot figure out a hotel booking, is on his way to being his successor, Lesai. In my very professional opinion, give him 6 months before he crashes and burns, and it is totally not because 2 weeks ago he told our CEO he had a bunch of files and then immediately turned out and asked me where they were. No! So while we ring in the new year waiting for this cluster F to play out, throw out your wildest theories how this is going to go. I don't think it can be any more insane than this. And as an aside, I have a couple of interviews next week as well. Yay! Well, OP, it sounds to me like it is going to be a crash and burn for the company, so it's a good thing you've got those interviews and just jump away. In the meantime, OP, here's wishing you the best. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Uncle Heavy. Trying to inflate your commission? How about no? About 22 years ago, I was buying an old farmhouse and land that had been on the market for 2 years. I liked what I saw, knew there was going to be a ton of work to make it habitable, but I was willing to put in the time and money into it. Contacted their agent and everything was going swimmingly. 48 hours from exchanging contracts and what do you know? A new buyer has offered £30,000 over my offer, but the sellers like me. So if I can go £5,000 above that, the agent is sure I will be able to get the house. Now, my parents were many things, but they did not bring me up to be a fool, and I was well aware that I was being played and he was trying to inflate his commission. I simply told the estate agent to advise the seller to take the increased bid and make it easier. I was withdrawing my offer immediately. I was willing to take the financial loss of all the surveys, etc. because I don't like being screwed over by anyone. I wish I was a fly on the wall to see how that conversation went. By chance, I saw the sellers in town about 3 months later, and they said they had hoped that I was recovering from my illness that had forced me to withdraw from the sale. Yes, that was genuinely the story the estate agent had come up with. Now, I could have nodded and smiled, but I decided to tell them the truth instead. I said that their estate agent had tried to squeeze me for an additional £35,000 and that because of his actions, the property was still for sale. Long story short, we had a chat and they were still willing to sell to me, and since I had all the paperwork, surveys, etc. ready to go, they could pull the property from the market and we could just get solicitors to do their bit and conduct it as a private sale. So that's what we did. I got my house, the sellers got a fair price, and the agent didn't get a penny. Was it petty? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Nicely done, OP. Although I wouldn't call it petty or a revenge. You were just doing what was right and fair. The fact that the estate agent lost his commission because of his own greed, well, that just makes it even better. Thanks so much for sharing, OP. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.